Hello, class, and welcome to Module 2. In this module, we will be working with alcohols and ethers. While there are no date restrictions on your modules, focus on completing this before the third week of class if you want to stay on a weekly schedule. So what I want to do first is go over the overview, objectives, and your textbook reading. So the overview, we will begin this module with learning about structure and properties of alcohols and ethers. Then we will investigate their physical properties and structures. We will introduce IUPAC nomenclature for naming alcohols and ethers. We will conclude the module by analyzing the reactions of alcohols and ethers. Now, IUPAC is just the standard way for all chemists across the globe to do nomenclature or naming of our organic compounds. The objectives, the students will be able to characterize structural differences between alcohols and ethers. The students will be able to apply IUPAC's system for naming alcohols and ethers. The student will be able to describe properties of alcohols and ethers, and the student will be able to analyze synthesis reactions of ethers and alcohols. And so your textbook reading for this module is 20.2, which is on alcohols and ethers. So we're going to talk about the synthesis or the making of alcohols. And actually, this particular example you'll see in the laboratory assignment, and I'm going to go over that in a moment. But these are different alcohols. It talks about the naming of alcohols. Like, for example, if we look at this one, we're going to count the carbon chain. So we have one, two, three, four, five. If we have five carbons, then that is a pentane. But we want to change that pentane name to pentanol. Okay, and it shows it here. OL represents an alcohol. So we're going to change the E to an OL. And then we have to number which carbon holds the OH group or the alcohol group. And so if we count from left to right, one, two, three, four, five, the OH is on the second carbon. If we count the other way, right to left, one, two, three, four, five, the OH is on the fourth carbon. You always want your OH group to be on the lowest numbered carbon. So we're going to count from left to right, all right? Because with organic compounds, when you're naming them, you can count from left to right or right to left, all right? And so the name becomes 2-pentanol, all right? And so it goes through more examples of naming as well as looking at ethers. Okay, with the ether group, you have the O in between two carbon. And so that distinguishes it from our alcohol. And so it goes through some examples. It also gives you information and it relates it to current usage. And so go through there, and if you have questions as you're reading through the material, please let me know. Along with the reading material, there is supplementary material, and these are videos to help you better understand alcohols as well as ethers. So it goes through the naming, it goes through the structure of the alcohol, as well as naming and structure for the ethers. So make sure you watch these very informative videos to help you better understand alcohols and ethers and to better prepare for the activity, homework, and lab work that you will be doing for this module. All right, so the next thing is the activity. So I want to show you the activity and go through it with you. So in this activity, you're going to be doing a scavenger hunt. So scavenger hunts always were fun to me. So I hope that you enjoy this as well. You will be looking for alcohols and ethers both in your home as well as at the store. Okay, so What you're going to do is alcohols and ethers are commonly found in everyday consumer products. In this chemistry scavenger hunt, you will identify real-world examples of these functional groups by locating products at home or in your store. So you will investigate ingredients, identifying functional groups, and connect chemistry concepts to real life applications. So you're going to pick five items that are either alcohols or ethers, right? And you are going to take a picture of them and drop it in the box. And then at the bottom, you're going to give us some information. So I am doing one, and I might have to take off my background so that you can see this. All right, let me put none. All right, so I have some hand sanitizer here. And on the back label, you will be able to read the ingredients. And so, what I would do if I was doing this assignment, I would take a picture of this and then I would drop the picture in this box for product one. Then down at the bottom, for the product number, I would put one, and the name of the product is hand sanitizer. Okay. And then the chemical ingredient identified. So where it says the drug facts, I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. But anyway, where it would say drug facts, you're going to put the active ingredient. For this one, it is ethyl alcohol. So I'm going to put ethyl alcohol. And as the name implies, it is an alcohol. And then the purpose of the product is to kill germs on hands. All right. And so once I would do all five, then make sure that you hit submit, okay, after you put all five. All right. So that is the lab activity. So you're going to go through and you'll be able to tell if it's an alcohol or an ether based on what the active ingredient is. If you are not sure of examples of ethers or alcohols, you can always Google ethers or alcohols, okay? But you do need to take that picture and drop it into the box, okay? So enjoy the scavenger hunt. The other activity for this module is the laboratory assignment. And so you're going to download and print it. And so you're going to click here. I already have it downloaded. So I am going to put it in the view so that you can see this. All right. So we're working again, alcohols and ethers. We're trying to reinforce it through the different activities that you will be doing so that you make sure that you really understand what's going on with the synthesis of an alcohol and ether. One thing that you'll see in this lab assignment is that what you learn in module one with your different drawings of organic compounds, the calculi, structures, and the condensed formulas and the line angle formulas. So those you learned in module one. So if you need more practice with those, go back to module one and refresh your memory on this because you'll be working with that. So this one, the synthesis of alcohol, we saw this in the text, and I said we will see it in lab as well. So when we are forming alcohols, we follow the Makarov rule, and what that tells us is if you're looking at water, one of the hydrogen on the water is going to connect to carbon, and the OH group is going to connect to a different carbon. The carbon that the hydrogen connects to is the carbon that has the most hydrogen. For this particular example, both carbon have the same number of hydrogen, and so you can pick either one. So this is what it's gonna look like. So what's gonna happen is this double bond is gonna break and you're gonna be left with the single bond. The hydrogen is going to connect with one of the carbon. The OH group is going to connect with the other carbon, all right? And then you end up with your alcohol, all right? And so with this, remember we're counting So 1, 2, or 1, 2, we want that OH group to be on the lowest number carbon. And so this would be on the first carbon. But since we only have two carbon, we do not give this a number. This is the only one with the methyl as well as the methanol and ethanol. You do not need numbers for, okay? Because it's always going to be on the first carbon. And so not until you get to three carbons do you have to number your alcohols. So keep that in mind when you're looking at naming your alcohols. All right, and so this is your final structure. This is the Kekulé structure. This would be what it looks like condensed, and this is the line angle. All right, so you're going to be drawing all of these in the different formats. But if you have questions, let me know. All right, so that's your laboratory activity. So what you're going to do is you're going to complete all of these parts. So you have your practice for your alcohols, and then here is your synthesis of ethers. All right. So with your synthesis of ethers, you have two alcohols that in the presence of, anytime you see the double arrow and you see things on top and the bottom, that means that you're adding these things or you're subtracting something. So here you're adding a hydrogen and you're subtracting water. All right. And so you have these two OH groups, right? And so the hydrogen from one and the OH from another are going to come together, and that's going to be that water that you're subtracting. Okay. The H plus just shows you that it's in an acidic environment. That's the type of solution that it's in. And so the oxygen that's left on this one combines with the carbon here, and you get the ether. Remember, ether has the oxygen in the middle of two carbon. All right. And so again, you're going to do the Kekulé, the condensed, and the line structure for your examples. All right. You also have your pre-lab questions and no post-lab for this particular lab. All right. Once you complete this worksheet, then you want to make sure that you submit it. One thing I do want to point out is in here, there's a lot of good background information that will help you answer those pre-lab questions, as well as a couple of videos that will give you more information on that. All right. And so, again, if you have questions on this, please let me know. Once you've completed, you remember you want to drop that in the Dropbox so that it will be ready to be graded. So going back to Module 2, the other assignment that you'll be working on is the Module 2 homework. And in the homework, it's 10 multiple choice questions. There's no time limit, but you do have just 2 attempts. So very important, when you complete that first attempt, if you didn't do as well as you would want to do, I would strongly suggest that you go back over the material that covers the questions you weren't quite sure about. And then make sure that you ask me questions of any information that you don't fully understand. You want to do that before you do that second attempt, because after that second attempt, that's it. And then the grade that is published in the grade book will be the grade from the highest of your 2 attempts. All right. And so make sure that you thoroughly understand the material before you do that second attempt. All right. So that is all that you will be doing in this particular module. And so I hope you enjoy learning about alcohols and ethers, and I will see you in Module 3.